Going on, everyone? I'm Andrew J. Welcome back to episode 4 of Jay by the Bay. I'm excited to be back and can't wait to dive into today's topics. Today, we're giving our preseason favorites in both college football and the NFL, as well as breaking down the Vikings quarterback battle and debating who the greatest NFL quarterback of the last 20 years really is. Remember, football news, football conversations, football year round. Joining me once again is the one and only Blair Cologne. What is up, my dude?
What's up, guys? Happy to be a part of the next episode. Let's get into it, bro.
All right, brother. Yeah, let's get into it. All right, first topic of the day. We're 8 weeks away from college football starting. I'm getting excited. I know you are.
Oh man, I told you before, my Brown Sundays have changed to Buckeye Saturdays. I'm more excited on Saturday than Sunday. I love waking up, watching college football kickoff, the noon game, getting to watch a 3 o'clock game, 5 o'clock game, 8 o'clock, sometimes even a 10 o'clock game when you got big California teams or the big West Coast side teams playing exciting games. So I can't wait. I can't wait for college football.
I mean, I'm stoked just because you figure, in 8 weeks we're gonna have football I think it's every single week at least. I don't know if it's every single
Yeah.
day, but all the way up until the end of February until the Super Bowl
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah. And
Well,
every year I get excited for it. And then midway I'm like, oh man, it's already almost over. And then I'm like, I was never this big of a football guy. Like, but now I'm just like, let's go. Like my Buckeyes, all the big games that are coming up. Like, I can't wait. And college football this year is completely wide open. We both have said it. We think it's completely wide open this year, and I can't wait to talk about it.
well, I know you're picking the Buckeyes. This is gonna come to be a shocker. I'm not going with the Buckeyes in the Big Ten this year. I'm actually going Oregon, who's actually going to be my national champion pick this year. I mean,
Oof.
dude, you got Dante Moore coming back. You have two of their top three running backs coming back, and Jordan Davison and Dyer Hill Jr. DeCorian Moore's coming back. Don't get me started with Jamari Johnson. Jamari Johnson, he got overshadowed last year because Kenyon Sadiq. This guy's my number two graded tight end prospect all of college football. I don't think he's going to be a first round pick. I mean, you never know, but I think he's going to be a second round pick next year. So I got the whole season to play. But and then I think Oregon's actually got the one defense that's better than Ohio State. I think it's like a 1A, uh, 2A type of
Yeah.
situation. But yeah, don't even get me started on on Oregon's defense. Arguably the best defense. I think they have the best defense. In all of college football. I think they're best defense ahead of Ohio State. But on edge rushers, they have Mateo Ungalele, Tatum, Tuioti, Amari Washington, who's another stud defensive tackle, arguably the best defensive tackle in all of college football. Brandon Finney Jr., who was actually a true freshman last year, started on that Oregon defense. He's actually one of my top five quarterbacks in all of college football as a true sophomore. And then you also got Koi Parich, who's actually transferred in from Minnesota, who was a stud at Minnesota last year. He's just going to elevate that defense. But Oregon, yeah, not only are they winning the Big Ten, according to me, I think they're the national champion this year.
So my national champion is coming out of the Big Ten too. I got a lot of questions for him, but I think a lot of my answers will be answered with the game against Texas, and that's the Buckeyes. I just think you look at Patricia, what he did with the defense, and all those guys, Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, all of them, super talented. The last couple years, though, we've had super talented kids, and it's just next guy up. I think Patricia's defense, and I get it. Oregon's, you said 1A, 1B. I just think there's another level that the Ohio State Buckeyes have. My biggest question mark is going to be Day's offensive play calling. Brian Hartline did an amazing job as the offensive coordinator. And you look at Jeremiah Smith coming back, you lost Carnell Tate, but you're just getting better at the wide receiver group. And if they can figure out how to be a more balanced offense versus just what he was doing in the playoffs, which I did not understand, not utilizing the running backs as much. And I think a lot of that had to do with the players had on their mind Brian Hartline. Getting him out of the building, which I hope nothing but the best for Brian Hartline. I think he's going to do an amazing job getting the chance to be a head coach. I think he's going to do great. but getting that out of the building, Sane having another year under center, I just think the Buckeyes. This is if this is another national championship time a year for us. This is the year to do it. It's completely wide open for you. You're going to get challenged with Texas on the schedule. You're going to get challenged with Oregon. And even if you lose that game to Oregon, I don't think it's the end of your season. But where I think all the day haters and the people that have questions about day get the get the Big Ten championship game, get it under your belt, and do what we expect as Ohio State fans. Get that under our wraps again. Let everybody know we're the Big Ten and get the national championship. And I just think it's set up for Day to do it. He has so many talented guys on the offense and defensive side that I mean, I could see it coming down to an Oregon versus Ohio State national championship game. I could
Oh
really
yeah, I
see
mean,
it.
yeah, I mean anything's possible. I mean, like you said, you have Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith. I mean, all the receiving corps. Not to mention the offensive line. The offensive line's top five, and then that defense. The defense is always immaculate. But I mean, yeah, and I'm not bashing the Buckeyes either. I mean,
No.
I think I definitely, obviously they're going to make the playoff. I mean, I shouldn't say obviously, but no, I mean, I think we could all agree they're probably going to be in there.
And that's
I
not
just,
even us. That's not even us being Big Ten fans. When we talk about the other teams that have a chance, there are so many teams out there. And our sleeper team, when we were talking about this episode, doing this episode, we almost had the same sleeper team, and we were like, we have the same reasons why they're the sleeper team. Um,
oh, Virginia Tech.
it's yep, it's going to be an exciting college football year. If you're a fan of college football, this is the year that you should be really excited about what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, Virginia. I mean, and then kind of to go to the next topic, but yeah, Virginia Tech. I think you said that's your surprise team as
Yep,
well.
yep, yep.
I mean, I'm going as far to say, so yeah, Virginia Tech. I think they just completely flipped it. They had, that was 3 wins last year.
Yeah,
I'm going as far. This is a bold prediction. I'm going as far to say 10-win season.
I agree.
They're also making the playoff.
I agree.
I'm not saying necessarily that they're going to, make a run in the playoff, but I think it's going to work out. But James Franklin, I think he turns that thing around very quickly. I think they get back to prominence how they were in the late 90s,
Yeah,
early 2000s. But yeah, you
yeah,
got 12 Penn State transfers as well as 11 Penn State flips.
yeah,
And then that's not to include all the guys that they just got that automatically just
yeah.
were committing to Virginia Tech. So I
And
think the
that's
Hokies have a really good
huge.
year.
That's huge when you talk about how many people flipped. Like those are recruits that Penn State had, they thought that they were going to have, and then one move, now they're in Virginia Tech. And I mean, I basically said yesterday, I'm like, Virginia Tech is pretty much Penn State. And you laughed. You're like, that's not even including, like you said, all the commits that were for Penn State, and now they're just going straight to Virginia Tech. I'm excited to watch that. I'm excited to watch that because
They're going to be a fun team.
when I started becoming a true fan of college football and looking at stadium atmospheres and everything like that, I mean, who doesn't think that Virginia Tech has one of the coolest freaking college atmospheres coming out
And
to
they're
enter
Sandman.
Sandman? Like, dude, that walking from the locker room all the way and the camera's following you the whole time and you see them all touching the stone. it- Dude, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it because I'm like, that is I mean, that's some fun right there.
Well,
And
that's
I
what it's
think,
all about, man. That's all part of those college football
yeah,
traditions.
and that's what just makes it so much fun on Saturdays to watch and have my snacks and just sit back and be like, damn, this is so cool. This is so cool. Notre Dame's atmosphere, all of them. So I'm so excited that it's completely wide open and it's not just, oh, we're going to talk about Alabama, we're going to talk about Georgia, we're going to talk about Ohio State, we're going to talk about um another team, Clemson, back when like Clemson was dominant. It was fun, but getting it more open like this, it's real fun. Now it's
Oh,
real
for
fun.
sure, man. Well, I'll tell you what. Well, who do you have in the ACC?
So the
Probably,
ACC, I think it's going to be Miami again.
I
I think coaching and just everything that they've done in Miami, I don't see another team coming out of that division. I
mean, I
think
agree. I mean, I don't mean to cut you off. I mean, I
no, you're
think
good.
that. I mean, I think Miami ends up winning it. I just don't think that they run away with it that a lot
Mm-mm.
of people think they are. But I
No.
think you have to consider SMU with Kevin Jennings
Yeah.
coming back. And I think their only loss this year is going to be to Notre Dame. Um, but like I said, Virginia Tech, who's also in the ACC, but I don't,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm pumping the brakes on that. They
Yeah.
make the college football playoff, but they don't win the ACC. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think we
It
both agree
wouldn't
on, Miami.
it wouldn't surprise me though. Like if we do a episode when we do our later episodes and see if we were right or wrong. It wouldn't shock me though if Virginia Tech did run away with it. It wouldn't shock me. You talk about the players coming to there, they've been in his system. They know what they're gonna get. Um Losing Ruben Bain, losing some of those defensive pieces for Miami. Let's see how they answer that. Was it a one off? And you had an amazing magical run last year? Or is this you guys have brought back Miami football? And if you brought back Miami football, that's some real fun for people in Miami. And I mean,
It's yeah, I think college football. I've heard it's from somewhere else too. Miami being like another. I'm not gonna go say they're juggernaut, but like to be actually like a contender actually makes college football fun again.
yeah,
But they're getting there. I mean, they made it to the national championship last year.
exactly.
But
So
I think Miami's and them as a football program. I think with Mario Cristobal, I think that's really working out there. You got Darian Mensah transferring from Duke. You have Mark Fletcher Jr. is coming back at running back. Malachi Tony.
yeah.
It's another type of like Jeremiah Smith type of guy who's a true
Hmm.
freshman, just came in, played lights out as a receiver.
Who
He's
was
my number
trying?
two.
Wasn't he trying to recruit Jeremiah Smith? Wasn't he saying like, "Hey, come back home"? And Jeremiah was like, "I'm going to stay in OSU."
Oh, I mean, I think everybody and their mother was just trying to recruit Jeremiah Smith.
I was nervous. The way we lost, I was really nervous. Was Jeremiah going to stay around? I thought there was a chance that he might go back home to Miami. I was like, oh man, that's a scary thought. But he stuck around.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Who do you have in the Big Ten? Or I'm sorry, Big 12.
Big 12. I'm going with Houston. I really think
Houston.
that I really think Houston was a team that was on the rise last year. I think that they're going to continue that rise. I really think that they're going to pull it away.
Is it? I mean, is there anything in particular?
It was just when I was looking at everyone in that division, I was like, it's close. It was so close. And you picked Texas Tech, right?
Yeah, I went with Texas
And
Tech.
and everyone was saying it was Texas Tech. My friend is a huge Texas Tech fan. Shout out to him. I know he's going to listen and watch the episode. Um, but I didn't buy into Texas Tech, and I think Houston's defense. I think I wanted to go with them.
I mean, Houston. I mean, you got Connor Wigman at quarterback. They also for in the future they have Keyshawn Henderson, who's a five-star recruit quarterback. But I'm Texas Tech. I mean, because you got to look at it. I mean, even without Sorsby, that team is loaded. They spent the most money on recruiting in the Big 12. That's with NIL spending all that stuff. Terrific offensive line returning. Even with all the key players and assets they lost on defense, Jacob Rodriguez, Ben Roberts, David Bailey. I mean, they have a great defense that's returning. And Anthony Holmes Jr. is actually the preseason. He's the defensive tackle. He's the preseason Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. So that's a guy to watch out.
Yeah,
Look to hear
yeah,
his name. So yeah, Anthony Holmes Jr. But yeah, I mean, it's Texas Tech. That was actually probably my easiest pick out of all these was Texas Tech. But you got to also consider BYU. I know
yeah. I was
Oklahoma State. I mean Oklahoma State as well.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah,
No,
Oklahoma State.
I was thinking BYU. I it was between for me three teams: Texas Tech, BYU, Houston, and I knew you had picked Texas Tech, and I was like, I'm gonna go with someone different. I'm gonna go somewhere different. So I have another team that I'm gonna watch. That I'm like, let's see how they do. I think it's wide open. I think Texas Tech will probably be the dominant one, but we'll see what
That's
happens.
I'm sticking to my guns and going with Texas Tech. But yeah, Oklahoma State, people shouldn't sleep on them. I mean, they got North Texas coach coming in. He's also bringing Drew Mestamaker, who's a potential first round pick.
Yeah.
Caleb Hawkins at running back. And then they actually have 55 transfers that came in
Ooh,
to Oklahoma State. 55.
Jesus. That's a
You
lot.
believe that?
That's a lot. Jesus.
So that's a team that could flip it. I think
Yeah.
Oklahoma State,
Yeah.
terrible. I mean, and Mike Gundy, who was there forever, got fired. But yeah, watch. That's going to be a team that I think ends up flipping it around really quickly.
And that's good.
Now, SEC, who you got?
Georgia. Another one
Georgia.
that was, yeah, and it was very, very tough. It was very tough.
Oh, they've been
I
a bully in
mean,
the SEC the last 10 plus years.
they have, and I'm just happy that I don't have to hear Alabama. Honestly, I'm happy that it's going to be more wide open. But when I was looking at everyone, it was, you Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia. There was just so many teams. I just think Georgia is again coming out of the SEC. I would have loved to see Florida University come up more, but they had a rough year, a rough 2 years. I don't see them making a run. And
Florida has a lot to figure out. I mean,
yeah,
they got a minute. They got a little while
yeah.
before they can, get that thing together, that program back to prominence.
And then even teams like Texas A&M, I don't know. I love Texas A&M. I don't know if they're going to make the jump yet. I just think Georgia is always they're always there, and they're almost like an Ohio State, next guy up, next team up. Like they're just solid, balanced all around every year. So that was why I went with Georgia.
Well, I mean, Georgia, yeah, like I said, Georgia, they've been a bully of the SEC the last, 10 plus years. Alabama is going to be competitive, but, it's not going to be their year. I'm not buying stock in LSU. I mean, I think they're going to be a good team, but they're not my pick. I'm going with Texas. Uh, I am buying stock in Arch Manning. I think he proves a lot of people wrong. I think he was wrongfully kind of knocked last year. But you also have Trevor Gooseby, who's arguably the best blindside tackle in all of college football. He's going to be another first round pick. You got two potential first round pick receivers in Ryan Wingo and then Cam Coleman, who transferred in from Auburn. And then they have arguably the best edge rusher in all of football, and Colin Simmons, another first round pick. You're going to be hearing that a lot of Texas
Yeah.
football, all these first round picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, solid defense. But yeah, I think they have one loss this season, and I don't think it's against Ohio State. I think it's actually going to be in the Red River Shootout against you got me
Okay.
too, the Oklahoma Sooners.
That was another team that I was looking at. Was Oklahoma as well. Um, I- if Texas beats OSU, then depending on how they lose, that's going to make me a little bit more nervous for the year. Um, because if it's it's a shootout, teams are going back and forth. One's answering the call to the other, and maybe last team that has possession, it's Manning, and he goes downfield, drives it down. I'm not going to be too upset at that. I'm going to be like, okay. But if it's like it was last year, where it's very close and we just have nothing offensively, ooh, I'm going to be I'm going to be very nervous with all the talent that we got on that side of the field.
All right, I could dig that. All right, so your picks. What was your picks again?
For
AC.
ACC Miami, Big Ten Ohio State, Big 12 Houston, and then SEC Georgia.
And then Ohio State national champion.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm going
Sleeper team Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going with Miami in the ACC, Oregon in the Big Ten, Big 12. I'm going with Texas Tech, SEC Texas, and then yeah, Oregon's going to be my national champion. And then yeah, we both agreed Virginia Tech's our sleeper team. All right, man. Well, let's shifting gears. Let's go to the NFL. Uh, I think let's go to the AFC. AFC is kind of loaded. You got, the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes is going to be back for week one. I don't know if you saw that, the
Good.
QB rankings that came out. They
Yep.
actually had
I
Josh
did.
Allen one, Mahomes
Yeah.
two.
Lamar was
But
like 3 or 4.
No, he was five.
Oh, he was five. Oh
They
wow.
had, I think they had, who they had at three. They had, I don't remember who they had three, and that, I mean that just shows you right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Burrow was four, but Stafford was three.
Okay.
But
That makes sense.
yeah, but in the AFC, I do really like the Buffalo Bills coming out. They're actually my AFC champs over the Ravens. I'm actually, yeah, so I think they have a 12-5 season. I think Josh Allen really just comes out, just really does well. He's actually my MVP pick this year, but I think he really just takes over in Buffalo and really shows what he can do. I don't think this is his year. So I think that they do go all the way to play the Rams, which I think the Rams are end up going to be the Super Bowl pick over the Bills. And that was actually my pick even before the whole Miles Garrett thing.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. AFC West, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. AFC South, I have the Houston Texans, and then the AFC North, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Basically, I'm going with Bills. Like I said, Josh Allen. I think he just takes over this year. I think he has an MVP type season. I think he ends up being the MVP. AFC West, I think the Kansas City Chiefs really just bounced back. Yeah, Mahomes he tore his ACL and his
Hmm.
LCL in week 15, but he's met all of his rehab checkpoints, and I think he's supposed to be ready week one. So I think they bounce back. I got the Chiefs actually going 11-6. AFC South, I think the AFC South is, and not to knock them, but I think it's the least competitive division this year in the AFC. I got them going 9-8 and coming out on top. I think CJ Stroud proves a lot of people wrong. Everybody was knocking him last year. And then I think he earns himself that extension. And then AFC North, like I said, Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson also has a bounce back year after going 6-8 as a starter last year. Derrick Henry has another great season. And then the defense continues to play lights out.
Yeah. So I went a little different. Originally, I wanted to do the Chiefs coming out of the AFC. But
Okay.
when I started thinking about it and everything, I still think Kansas City has some questions that have to be answered. I understand how great Mahomes is. He can only get you so far, though. Your tight end is getting older with Kelsey. I love Kelsey. He's a Cleveland boy. He's not getting younger. He's getting older. Um, what offensive weapons are you surrounding him with to let him keep going on these runs? And I think their division is only getting better. The team I got coming out of that division is the Broncos again. When I was doing my picks and thinking about it, they were they were plays away from being in the Super Bowl. The Broncos. If their quarterback doesn't get hurt, I think it's Broncos in Seattle in the Super Bowl, and I think it's a different Super Bowl. I don't know if the Broncos pull it out necessarily, but I don't think Seattle is holding it down like they were in that Super Bowl. Um, I think the Broncos just have a lot of weapons, a lot of talent. I think the quarterback, he's going to be a very good quarterback this year. I think the Broncos are going to be the team that you really got to watch out for because they're going to get better.
Well, and
And
you figure,
they
I mean,
go ahead.
Bo Nix, because you figure Bo Nix got hurt in the AFC Championship game. So, I
Yep.
mean, well, it was like the game before that.
Yeah.
But, well, I mean, you said the Chiefs have question marks.
Yeah. For me, the offense with Mahomes.
What
Like
about, what about the addition of Kenneth Walker?
I think it's a great addition, but if you look at all those Chiefs teams, like where even Kareem Hunt was on the team and was the featured back, they still weren't going with a run heavy team on that. And those teams had a Tyreek Hill to throw the ball to as well. So who does he have? And that's always been a struggle that they've had with Kansas City is who's on the outside catching the ball from Mahomes besides Kelsey.
No, I mean, they got Rasheed Rice who stays out of trouble. And then you also have Xavier Worthy. But again, Worthy's got to stay healthy. Rice has to stay out of trouble. Nah, I mean, I get that though. I could feel you. But,
I just I just think that it's going to be a tough division for them. I think it's going to be a lot tougher for them than it's been before. And I think the NFL, just like college football, is wide open too. I don't think there's really besides the Rams, Seahawks, and a couple other teams, I don't see it being, oh, this is the definitive team. This is the number one team.
Well, yeah, it's, I mean, yeah, and I mean, the NFC, I mean, so NFC East, I think the Eagles come out on top. I think the AJ Brown distraction, with that being done with, I think that's huge because I think that was more of a distraction than a lot of people, are willing to admit. Makai Lemon falling to them, uh, perfect scenario for them because he kept dropping and dropping. But yeah, they swoop him and pick him up. So him playing opposite of Devontae Smith is huge. And then, like I said, I had the Rams. I picked them even before the whole Miles Garrett trade. The only difference that had that was I had them 13-4 before the trade. Now I have them 14-3.
Yeah.
But then you got I don't know if you saw the Aaron Donald stuff. He's actually
Yep.
at the
Yep.
facility.
I
I don't know if you
saw.
saw that video with TMZ.
I did.
So, but yeah, Miles Garrett, great addition. But then you also have Trent McDuffie on the other side. And then they go and get his other teammate from Kansas City, Jalen Watson. But yeah, that's huge. But yeah, and then yeah, Aaron Donald even at 35, huge addition if he
Yeah.
ends up coming back. And then yeah, NFC South, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even with the Baker Mayfield and Vita Vea contract situation, I don't think it's too much of a distraction to where they can win that division. But yeah, they just seem to be the pick out of the South. And then the NFC North, Caleb Williams continues to play at a high level. And I think they just, they start where they left off from last year. And I actually have them going to the NFC Championship where they eventually fall to the Rams.
Which I was very surprised that you got them going all the way to the championship game. I would be excited if that happened, but I think for the NFC championship game, I think it's going to be Seattle and the Rams again. I just think Seattle's defense, they're nasty. But a big question mark I have in the NFC is the 49ers. I mean, can the 49ers do something with adding Evans to their team and getting that offense going? Can McCaffrey stay healthy? Can Little stay healthy? Um, can all of their guys and the pieces that they got stay healthy to make a run? Because I could see them making a run too. I do think it comes down to the Rams taking though the NFC. I just think they got just so many weapons, and if they add Aaron Donald, it's almost like making a Madden dynasty team where you're just like, oh, why don't I just take Aaron Donald too? I'm gonna make him unretire. Like, I don't know how you answer that. I don't know how you answer that defensive
Excuse me.
line. You're good. I just don't know how you answer that defensive line with Miles Garrett and Aaron Donald. I don't know how you would even go about it.
So you said the 49ers. I mean, you think the NFC West is just going to be that competitive with,
I
the
do.
49ers, the Rams, and then the Seahawks?
I do. I mean, it was very competitive last year. I think it continues. Those are top dog teams for me.
Okay. All right. I can respect that. All right. So you said so in the AFC side of things, who did you end up going with?
For the North, it was tough for me to pick. Um, I think if Cincinnati can, have a solid offensive line, there's a case for Cincinnati. But I went with the Ravens. For the AFC East, who
AFC
did I
North.
say? The North was the Cincy. Who did I say for the East? I can't remember who I sent you.
You ended up going with I think you ended up going with the Bills, right?
Bills. That's who it was. Bills. South was Jacksonville. Shout out to my friend who is a Texas Tech fan and he's a Jaguars fan. I don't understand how. He was very mad at me for mentioning Chris Johnson going off on Jacksonville. And he was like, how are you going to say that about my Jacksonville Jaguars and not give him some credit? So credit to him. I do think the Jaguars come out of that division. And then in the West, it's going to be the Broncos.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So then, I mean, kind of similar. Okay. Yeah. So I ended up going with the Baltimore Ravens in the North. In the South, I went with the Houston Texans, Buffalo Bills in the East, and then the Kansas City Chiefs in the West. And then NFC, who did you end up going with?
NFC North was Green Bay. I think that I like the Bears. I really do. I just I think Green Bay is going to turn it around. I think they started off the year very hot. Couple losses and everything else happened. I think Green Bay figures it out. Um, for the West, it was the Rams. For the South, who did I can't remember who I sent you on the South.
I think you ended up going with the Buccaneers as well.
Buccaneers as well. And then the East, who did I send to you
Yeah,
again?
the Eagles.
No, I had the
Oh no,
Giants.
you went the
I had the
Giants.
Giants. I did because of them drafting Reese. I think he helps the defense on that side. I think that's a huge pick for them. Um, Dart, I think is going to be a solid quarterback for them. If Neighbors and Cam Scattaboo are healthy, ready to go, the NFC East is going to be a fun division to watch too. Commanders, Philly, Dallas, Giants. I mean, they all added very talented pieces. I'm excited to see that division. I think it's the Giants' time. I think it's them. And
All right.
I didn't want to pick the same guys as you. And I hate the Cowboys. I'm not gonna pick
No,
the
I agree.
Cowboys. I can't stand the Cowboys. So I'm not gonna pick them. But I think the
Bears.
Giants
Well,
have a I think the Giants have a chance.
okay, yeah, and then yeah. So like I said, with the Chicago Bears in the North, I think Caleb Williams does his thing. In the South, I'm going, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're just a pick in the South. East, I'm going with Philly, the Philadelphia Eagles. I think just they're just a red hot team. The AJ Brown stretch and done. And then yeah, the NFC West, just star-studded team. There's, I mean, just wow, that whole defense is. I mean, they're the number one defense. But yeah, so I got the Rams in the West. I don't know if you've been following all the stuff going on with the Vikings quarterback battle, but obviously it's one of the tighter battles of all season. Obviously you got JJ McCarthy, who's already there, and then Kyler Murray comes in, signs a 1 year deal. In most cases, I think, QBs are brought in to push the other quarterback. I think in this case, I think the Vikings are just chasing the next Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree.
Big difference in quarterbacks. I do honestly think that Kyler Murray ends up winning the job, and I think if he does end up winning the job, like I think he will, I think that ends up being it for JJ McCarthy in Minnesota. I think it has to be because I just don't think there's any rebounding from that, and I think he'll. And it doesn't mean it's the end of his career. It's kind of like the
No.
same thing, It's kind of similar to Darnold, like with the Jets in New York, but at the end of the day, he's still 23 years old, still has a lot of quarterback to play. And, maybe it's just a reality check. It's, 10th overall pick.
Yeah.
Still got a lot to prove. And, it's just not in Minnesota.
I agree because I think it goes to Kyler Murray. He's more experienced. He's got Justin Jefferson to throw to. And I think McCarthy he showed flashes that he can be the guy. I believe it was against the Bears where he made that comeback and they won that game. That I was like, I mean, that's your guy right there. But
Well, he
then
was
he
playing. I mean,
just
yeah, I mean, his rookie, it was his rookie year. He was actually playing well. And the only reason
yeah,
why he came out is just because he got hurt.
yeah. And that's not a knock on him. There were just times where he would show it, then there were times where you're scratching your head like, what is he doing? So I think, and Kyler Murray has that too. He has that too, where he makes these incredible plays, and he's done it for Arizona, and he's even done it against my Browns and your Browns, where you're like, man, that's a very talented guy. And then he does things where you're just like scratching your head and like, what were you doing right there? What did you see right there? So I think in Minnesota, I think it goes to Kyler Murray. I think McCarthy, this is not the end for him if it doesn't work out in Minnesota. I do think that there's going to be a team out there that can take him and make him into something.
Oh,
Um,
I mean, you figure every offseason, there's 8 teams looking for a
yeah,
quarterback at the
and
minimum.
if you would have told me years ago, Sam Darnold would have his career for the Jets and then be a Super Bowl champion with Seattle, I would have told you you were crazy. I'd have been like, I don't know what world you're living in, but you're crazy. And I mean, it shows that with time, with true development, you can still have a very good career. So
Well,
I
that just
think
shows you. I mean, that just shows you what you could do in an actual offense where
yes,
you work in. I mean, Sam
yeah,
Darnold back in that draft, back in that 2018, 2018 draft. And I'm not saying he's the best quarterback out of the draft. He's not. It's obviously, I would say it goes to Josh Allen, then Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But Sam Darnold is the one I wanted going number one to Cleveland.
I
And
didn't.
he coincidentally he ends up being the first one to win a
Yeah,
Super
that's
Bowl.
true. That is true.
But that
That
just
is
shows. I
true.
mean, if you're in the right offense, you can thrive. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're I guess the quote unquote the best quarterback. It's if you find an offense that you fit in, you can thrive. But yeah, I mean, as far as Murray though, I mean he's different from from what Minnesota's had.
Yeah.
I think he does get it done. I'm not saying he's going to be like a top five fantasy quarterback like he was, years back.
Right. Right.
But I do think he shows flashes of of his own, his old self.
I agree. And also back with what you were saying, like finding that right offense, but finding also the right organization that realizes what your talent is. Because I've said it before that, and I've even asked you about it. Do you take a guy in the draft that you don't know what you're going to get, or do you go after a veteran QB that you know what you're going to get, and now you surround him with pieces and tell him like, hey, we're kind of making your job easier because we have this. Look at their defense. Like Sam Darnold was basically tasked with, hey, you got Kenneth Walker behind you, you have Jackson Smith and Jigba, you have talent. We need you to just go out and be the best version of you, and you have a defense that you can rely on at the end of the day. Like we don't need you to just be this gunslinger that takes the ball downfield every time and scores. No, we got this defense behind you that they're not going to allow a game to get out of reach for you. And we have a running
Uh,
back that you're going to be able to control the game with. So I think doing that as well is something that can help. And, maybe for Kyler Murray being in Arizona, he just felt that pressure of I gotta be the guy to Willis this game. I gotta be the guy that comes up with this amazing touchdown on every drive. I don't know. Maybe that's how he felt. And maybe getting out of that scene with a different coach that's like, hey, this is what we got for you right now. Maybe that helps. And maybe that builds off of him. And same goes for JJ McCarthy. Maybe he leaves Minnesota and he doesn't have the worry of, I got to get Justin Jefferson the ball every time because it's Justin Jefferson. Maybe he goes to a more balanced team where they're telling him, like, hey, we have these pieces
change the
around
scenery.
you. Yeah. Change the
You can change
scenery
the
can
scenery.
always help.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Darnold in Seattle. I mean, it took him a while to get there. Baker Mayfield down here in Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Yeah, it all depends. I mean, everybody they can find that I guess that resurrection of their career elsewhere. And yeah, it just sometimes it takes time and just yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I said, I think Murray ends up winning it, and JJ McCarthy. I think that'll end up being his time in Minnesota, and then they move on. And you know, like I said, he's still young. He's 23.
Very young. Yeah.
All right, man. Let's on the last topic, we'll keep it. We'll still keep it in the NFL. I've been seeing that Richard Sherman, Skip Bayless argument resurfacing. You know which one I'm
Yep.
talking about? The one was like
I
13
do.
years ago,
I do. Yes, I do.
where he was like getting like disrespected, or he
Yep.
just took it the wrong way. I think
Yeah,
it was a little dramatic. But
I do
yeah,
too.
after seeing that video though, it kind of got me thinking. I'm like, all right, well, after now that he's retired, I'm like, where does he actually stand? Like at least like the last 20 years. I mean, we'll say 20 years just because I mean we could go back and go through every
Oh
single
yeah.
cornerback,
Yeah.
but for the sake of time, I mean, last 20 years, I know who I think is, and I really did. I put some thought into it. I mean, who would be your top quarterback in the last 20 years?
So commenting on Richard Sherman's thing, I think he was a great cornerback. I think he benefited from being in a system where I believe they were in a zone defense mostly. So he was only on one side of the field. So he didn't line up man on man. Like he wasn't matched up always with the number one wide receiver. So I think that benefits him. And I get it. Like you can only guard who your coaches are telling you to guard. You can only play defense with what your coaches are setting up. And he wasn't getting targeted on that side of the field. But that being said, you can move your best wide receiver away from that and go, well, we're not going to attack that side of the field. That defense had some nasty guys with Cam Chancellor and so many talented pieces. My number one cornerback in the last 20 years, I think it's got to be Revis Island. I mean, you look
Okay,
at a guy,
I can
you look
respect that.
you look at a guy that like he was matched up with everybody. He was matched up with everyone. I believe forget what year it was. He had 6 interceptions, led that Jets team to a playoff appearance, multiple Pro Bowl season for Daryl Reeves. And I mean, the guy was just, you knew if you were matched up with him, you were going to have a rough day. I mean, you knew that you weren't going to get much. And I was talking to you about it. I believe there was one receiver that maybe gave him problems, and
It was
you had
Randy
said
Moss.
you thought it was Randy Moss, which
It
I
was
mean,
Randy Moss.
It's Randy Moss. Like, if that's the one guy that's giving you problems, I think you've done a pretty freaking amazing job as a cornerback, because I don't know many guys that could shut down Randy Moss. But I think you got to give it to Revis, because there wasn't many guys out there that were like him. And I know who you're gonna go with, and I was thinking about going with him too. But for me, it was Revis.
Well, I mean, look, couple, just to look at his statistics, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, four-time first team All-Pro, seven-time Pro Bowler, 29 interceptions, 139 passes defended. I mean, that's some impressive numbers. But yeah, I'll tell you the other guy I was thinking about. I was actually thinking about Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey was,
I was thinking about him too. I was thinking about him too.
started his career out in Washington. Then he was part of that Clinton Portis trade, got traded away to Denver, and then he just played awesome. But yeah, Champ Bailey, another guy, another Hall of Famer, three-time first team All Pro, four-time second team All Pro, 12-time Pro Bowler, 52 interceptions. And then he also had the NFL record, 203 passes defended. But I'm going with Charles Woodson, Ohio grown, Fremont, of course, he went to that team up north. But Charles Woodson, this guy, I mean, he was an absolute stud. He ended up switching to the safety position and towards the end of his career, I think the last 4 years, still played at a high level. But, keep in mind, he had five interceptions his last year in the league as a,
Yeah.
39-year-old.
Yep.
That's basically, playing for the Raiders. But, I mean, he made every single defense that he played for just better. He was always ranked at the top. You could plug him into any secondary role. He excelled. Like I said, he switched to safety towards the end.
Yeah.
And he just had the capability of being a premier cover corner or just a hard hitting safety.
Yeah.
Anything you put him into. But, also, like I said, going into his stats, Hall of Famer, Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, three-time first team All Pro, four-time second team All Pro, nine-time Pro Bowler, 65 interceptions, 11 of them he took him to the house. And then he's
Oof.
also tied for the NFL record, 13 defensive touchdowns. He's tied for first, 183 passes defended. So, I mean, for me, it's just like when I was really comparing them, and I had to go back and watch some tape, watch some highlights. It was Woodson. I go, Woodson is just Charles Woodson. I mean, just from high school to college and then just the NFL, but hands down. And I'd even go so far to say, from the last, I said the last 20 years, I'd probably say the last 30 years, he was the best cornerback. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that you could pick.
There are. Yeah. I agree. And like I said, when you brought the topic up and you had told me who you were thinking about going with, I was like, I mean, that was the first guy that came to my mind, and I was like, well, I gotta try and think of another guy, and then I was like, I think if Woodson's right there, I think on that list, at least in the top five, maybe even top three, you gotta put Revis or
Woodson, Charles Woodson.
Revis Island.
Oh,
Yeah, if you
Rivers
put,
Island.
yeah, you'd have to put both of those guys. Like, you look at their careers, both of those guys. I mean, I wouldn't want to throw the ball in either of their direction. I would not want to do it.
Well, I mean, Darrell Reeves. I mean, he got the nickname the Revis Island for a reason.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just I mean, you could go with any. I mean, anything you picked. I mean, whether you picked Woodson, Revis,
Yeah.
Bailey. I wouldn't pick Sherman, and that's not a knock on him. Like, I mean, I think we could both agree. It's just he was a hell of a cornerback, but I'm not willing to put him up there with you know, the Woodsons and the
Yeah.
Revises. But yeah, yeah. I mean, this was a fun thing because I really, like I said,
It was. It
I'm
was.
I'm not a guy that likes to just go off of stats. I love looking at
Right.
stats.
Right.
I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, I had to go back and watch the highlights, and yeah, it's just Woodson was always for me. Woodson, he played for some of those bad Raider teams,
Yeah.
but he played on some good ones too. But he was, they'd be down 30 points, and the guy was out there still,
Hmm.
playing lights out, just going, 110%. That's why, I mean, I really was when
Yeah.
he went to Green Bay. He went to Green Bay. That's where he won the actually Defensive Player of the Year. And of course, he got hurt in that Super Bowl against Pittsburgh. But I mean, I was happy that he actually finally got a ring in that. Just,
Yeah.
he's just a phenomenal player. You love seeing players that are just Hall of Fame type players finally get a ring.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, that'll do it for episode 4, Jay by the Bay. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. As always, if you love the show, please hit that subscribe. Um, like I said, I mean, it's always a pleasure. Also, after further discussion with Blair, he's actually going to be a regular co-host on Mondays. Seriously,
Yeah.
brother, I can't. I appreciate that type of commitment from you, man.
Absolutely, bro. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do it. I'm super stoked about it, super happy. The whole weekend I was looking forward to doing this. Um, of course, like probably everyone else out there watching UFC, being super disappointed in the outcome of that. I was like, man, I need something to pick me up. And I was like, oh, wait, Monday, we're doing our podcast. So I was like, let's go, let's get to Monday. So
That's
I'm
what's up,
happy to
man.
do it.
No, seriously, brother. Seriously, no. I can't. I already can't wait till next episode.
Same here, brother. Same here.
But all right, everybody. Yeah, thank you so much again. Seriously, I love you guys. But like I said, if you really love this episode, please hit that subscribe. You get the full thing.
Yeah.
Every week we're here. I also got my solo show on Thursdays. But yeah, until next time, guys, it's always a pleasure. Take care.